Welcome back, brothers and sisters. I am Braden. This is Langley Outdoors Academy, the place where we not only talk about what's going on in the gun world, but also how we're going to fix it together. And the content that I'm about to show you is a developing breaking story around the whole Mexican lawsuit thing. You remember that one? Well, there's a pretty big development coming out of Boston, and everything that I'm about to show you is going to be linked in the description box below. And I can't wait to hear from you guys in the comments. And of course, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn the notification bell on. All right, my brothers and sisters, so in a nutshell, if you were not familiar with what's going on, Mexico, the nation state of Mexico, sued the gun manufacturers because the criminal cartels use guns. That has been thrown out in court a few different times, but there's a major update because it turns out that they got a win. It's going to allow them to sue the courts, to allow them to sue the gun manufacturers, except for one little tiny nuance. And of course, it wouldn't be a good story if you didn't throw in all the incredible malfeasance of the Everytown for Gun Safety funds that have been put underneath a different alliance that's now international. Everything is linked. I'm not making this up. Let's get it. Check this out. Mexico wins ruling in novel lawsuit against U.S. gun manufacturers. Novel. You know, remember last time we saw a novel, right? Don't know why I'd ask that. It's the first such court decision to uphold the right of a sovereign country to sue the gun industry, according to the Global Action Fund on Gun Violence. But the case isn't over. Now, that's that last piece. I'm going to show you all this here. Just let me hear what you guys think of this one, because this is pretty nuts. So this came out, obviously, as you can see, on January 23rd, okay? Accountability for the U.S. gun manufacturers has been hard to come by. Thanks to a new court ruling, it's now a step closer, and from perhaps a surprising source, Mexico. Now, this is a leftist site, this is MSNBC, that is putting this out, and they're kind of couching this as something brand new that has never happened before. It's completely out of the radar, even though it's been an ongoing case that we've covered since October of the year before last. Just saying. But anyway, let's keep going. The Boston-based, shocker, I know, First U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals on Monday removed a roadblock to the country's $10 billion lawsuit against U.S. gun manufacturers, deciding that it's not barred by federal law that insulates the firearm industry. Global Action on Gun Violence said it's the first such ruling to uphold the right of a sovereign country to sue the industry. Boop. Set up your camp on your tents, because we're about to go to town on the Global Action on Gun Violence. Do you guys know what the Global Action on Gun Violence is? I'll tell you, and we've done videos on it. This is why we pay attention to the details and the nuance. This is a spinoff of the Everytown lawyers who retired from Everytown or stepped away from their responsibilities and went to international level, calling the Global Action on Gun Violence, but it's still funded by the Everytown for Gun Safety. Now they're using Mexico and U.S. courts to sue gun manufacturers because the PLCAA, the Protection of Lawful Commerce and Arms Act, prevents them from doing it in the U.S., so they started a new firm representing a different country against the same gun manufacturers. It's all linked right down there. Anyway, let's continue, because this is where it gets really kind of comical. The three-judge panel ruling, written by a Barack Obama appointee, William Cayeta, concluded that Mexico's complaint, quote, adequately alleges that defendants aided and abetted the knowingly unlawful downstream trafficking of their guns into Mexico. Yet the landmark decision doesn't end the matter, even if it's upheld by any further appeal by the manufacturer. Monday's ruling points out that whether Mexico can prove its allegations at a potential trial remains to be seen. No, you got an activist court to say that you could, quote, adequately allege that defendants aided and abetted the knowingly unlawful downstream trafficking of their guns into Mexico. Translation, a court judge just said that there's actual allegations with credible evidence that could potentially lead to the outcome that gun manufacturers in the United States knew, without a doubt, knew and intended to sell guns that would be trafficked by people they did not know across a border, which is a breaking of federal law, again, criminal activity, and then being used by criminal cartels. That's what they're going to say that they prove. Those three things. You think there's secret documents inside the deep pockets of Glock or Smith & Wesson that says, ooh, these 10% of all firearms produced are going to go to the Mexican cartels through illicit activities? Do you really think that's there? No. Or do you think this is actual criminal activity of which the ATF has known about this through something called Project Thor, which we have covered also on this channel ad nauseum? It's gross, but we're going to defeat it because we remember stuff. And the last piece right here. The appeals court noted that Mexico has strict gun laws, but that gun violence increased thereafter the U.S. ended its assault weapons ban in 2004. Really? So the assault weapon ban sunsets, and now there's an increase in crime in Mexico, and that's because the sunset of a bill in the United States. Okay. Anyway, let's continue because this is getting even dumber. Mexico's complaint against 7 manufacturers and 1 distributor details a, quote, steady and growing stream of illegal guns trafficked from the United States into Mexico, motivated in large part by demand of the Mexican drug cartels for military-style weapons, the ruling observed. In turn, Mexico says it has suffered increased costs for medical, mental health, and other services for victims and their families, increased costs for law enforcement and its judicial system, and diminished property values and business revenues. You've made my country into a third world dictatorship run by the cartel. This is your fault. Or? And that's what I'll leave you guys with. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and I'll see you on the next one. I'm Braden. See you later.